For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. The ontological argument is one of the most profound philosophical discussions about the existence of God. It asserts that the very concept of God, the idea of a perfect, all-powerful and eternal being, implies his existence. This argument was famously formulated by Anselm of Canterbury in the 11th century. The idea is that we can think of God as that than which nothing greater can be conceived. If we can conceive of such a being, then that being must exist in reality. Why? Because a God who only exists in our minds would be less perfect than one who exists both in our minds and in reality. Let's break this down further using the Bible. In Exodus 3:14, God reveals himself to Moses as I am who I am. This is a declaration of God's eternal and self-sufficient nature. He doesn't depend on anything else for existence. He exists necessarily. This is important because if something is perfect, if it is the greatest being conceivable, then it must exist necessarily, not just as a possibility. A perfect being cannot exist only in our imagination. It must exist in reality, or else it would not be truly perfect. God's perfection challenges our view of reality because, in our human experience, everything depends on something else. Nothing in this world exists necessarily. We rely on other things, our environment, our resources, our relationships, to exist. But God is different. He is the ultimate, unchanging being. His perfection doesn't need anything else. He doesn't change or depend on anything external to himself. His perfection requires that he exists. When you think about God, how does his perfection help you understand his existence? Does the idea of a perfect being make sense to you, and how does that challenge your views on reality? Credits. Script by Kumbiaklal Housel.